This is Sheriff Spotlight with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, highlighting the office and deputies dedicated to providing law enforcement services and maintaining the trust and support of Rockingham County citizens, all while keeping neighborhoods and communities safe.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our May 2023 edition of Sheriff Spotlight here with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office. I'm your host for today's show, Kevin Southard. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, and in the studio with me today as our guest is Sheriff Sam Page.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Glad
and a beautiful day coming to work.
Yes, it is. We are broadcasting from beautiful downtown Wentworth, North Carolina.
In Rockingham County.
And Rockingham County, yes.
The North Star.
That's exactly right. All right, we've got a lot to get to on this show, so we'll get right down to it.
All right.
We had a press conference earlier in the week about a conviction after a 2-week Superior Court trial here in Rockingham County.
Right.
Why don't you tell us about that trial and what that individual did leading to his conviction of quite a few years in jail?
Well, March 11th, 2020, a person by the name of Joseph Irving, from his residence, he was in his residence early one morning, and one of our deputies came to the location, or some of our deputies came to the location to serve a warrant on the subject, at which time they were met with a firearm. They backed up, called for assistance. A perimeter was set, and we began a barricaded situation with an armed subject for about 9 hours. Mm-hmm. Mr. Irvin, during the whole time, started making phone calls to many schools across the county, businesses, governmental center, government officials, some elected officials, government officials, making threats. We had threats of bomb threats. We were able to, working with our 911 center, emergency services, and Jason Wood's group did a great job, and our detectives were able to control, get with the server, with the network that carried his phone. We were able to narrow it down to just one phone they could call to one number, which was ours.
Right.
And we were able to basically control where he couldn't make any more bomb threats or any threats to anybody else. So we got that contained, and then we had to deal with Mr. Irvin and basically try to get him out of his residence peacefully. It was all day long communications and negotiations. Near the end, we ended up deploying chemical munitions to basically overcome him so we could take him into custody. He was taken into custody without incident, and he was in our jail for about 3 years waiting trial. I do want to add, part of the length, people ask why did it take a while to get him into the courts. Well, part of it was the day after this event, the governor and everyone did the COVID lockdown, and the Chief Justice stopped all jury trials.
Yeah, for like a year.
For over a year, yeah. So Justice, the Justice decided to stop it. Any more jury trials to be putting people close together, and that slowed the process. But all the detectives involved, the SWAT team involved, at the scene did a great job. I was called to testify, and also I listened to the several of the witnesses. Mr. Irving represented himself in court as his own attorney, and I just want to commend the DA staff. I'm not good on names, but I know that the two ADAs did a great job to prosecute the case. Jason Ramey has a very great team of prosecutors. They did a great job. It was about a 2-week trial. I thank the jury for reaching the verdict they did. Judge Allen was there, and everybody presented the information, and then the jury made their decision. He ended up receiving, I think, 21 years active in the North Carolina Department of Adult Corrections.
And that's a minimum, correct? Minimum of 21 years?
I think it's 21 and a half plus a year and a half probation when he is released. Currently, I think Mr. Irvin's about 40 years old.
So what is the message? I know you had a particular message that you were sending out at the media conference that we had earlier in the week.
First of all, I want to state that a lot of schools were affected. Children had to be hunkered down, and then at one point were evacuated from the schools due to the bomb threats. A lot of people were placed in fear. Children, teachers, staff, like I said, our officials at the governmental center and stuff like this, college and other places that calls were made to, they were placed in fear that they shouldn't have had to go through. But my message is this, there are persons out there that make phone calls, that do things like swatting on the internet. They make phone calls, they make threats, and for whatever reason they do that, it's not funny. It's serious. It affects our lives of our families and our children. And if you do it, I can tell you this, we will pursue you. I've said this before, we will pursue you and prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. I commend, again, my DA staff for a great prosecution, and I commend all the investigators and the officers involved for great work on this. I do want to thank Greensboro PD for use of their bomb squad representatives. Also, I want to thank the Alamance County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Terry Johnson's people, for bringing out the Bearcat, which is an armored vehicle to protect our deputies. But at the end of the day, we were able to resolve the situation when no one was hurt and take a person into custody for his actions, and he was held accountable. And he wanted to be heard that day, and the district attorney, I'll repeat what he said, you were heard, and now you hear from us.
That's right.
And he's going out of here with 21 years.
That's right.
To Department of Corrections. So great job, everybody. And to the message is, if you're thinking about making threats and phone calls or messaging through the computer system cyber-wise, don't do it, because it could result in you going to prison for a long time.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
All right, now on to a more positive note about our schools, since we're talking about the schools. About 2 more weeks of school
I think June
left
7th.
in the
I
school
believe
year?
June 7th officially, all of our public schools will be out. I think some of our private schools are already out. Early college, I think they've already had a graduation. Congratulations to all our graduates of early college. That's a cool situation. Go to finish up your school, 19th, 11th, 12th, finish up school, and when you graduate, you end up with a 2-year degree also.
Yeah.
That's
doubling up right there.
18 years old
Oh, yeah.
with a 2-year degree already, an associate's degree.
I know
That's
several
wonderful.
people that have taken advantage of that, their children, friends of mine and stuff. So.
But we've got several thousand kids that are in public school that will be graduating and heading out. I think June 7th. I know there'll be graduation ceremonies all over the county coming up. And I just want to congratulate all of our seniors for doing a great job. I want to congratulate the parents. I know y'all were behind them all the way. I want to thank all of our teachers and our principals and everybody, our superintendent, Sean Stover, for looking after our children here as our superintendent and their education. And again, like I said, I just hope all our students have a great summer, a safe summer, and get ready to go back to wherever they're going, whether they're going to military or whether they're going to higher education, stuff like that. We just wish you the best.
Now, speaking of summer, I think the Memorial Day weekend is usually the unofficial start of summer in most people's views.
Right.
That's when we start the vacationing and the water play and so on and so forth. Why don't you give us some safety tips about the coming up 3-day weekend here? A lot of people are going to be out on our waters having a good time and stuff.
Well,
and
let me start off with coming up this Sunday. There'll be the memorial ceremony for at our Veterans Park at Wentworth. It starts at 2:00. Get there a little bit before 2. It may sprinkle. Hey, that's okay. We've been rained on before. Yeah. But again, you're welcome to come out to the Veterans Park ceremony for Memorial Day to remember our veterans that have passed, and that will be on this Sunday at 2:00. At the Veterans Park, located on Highway 65, right across from Rockingham Community College. And then, of course, Monday will be closed because Monday will be Memorial Day, and that does begin the season. We've got Blues Lake. First thing I think of in the Memorial season during that holiday is Blues Lake. We'll have a lot of people coming out boating. If you haven't had your boat out in a while, it wouldn't be a bad idea right now to get it checked out, make sure all those fuel lines are clear.
That's right.
Make sure your gas is good. Make sure it's hitting on all cylinders, because the last thing you want to do is be stranded out on Blues Lake or any other lake, and you got a bass boat.
That's right. And
you don't want to be stranded.
And as a boat owner, I can tell you, whenever you take it out of storage, there's going to be something wrong with it. That's why they say that the 2 best days in a boat owner's life are the day you buy it and the day you sell it. Go ahead and work out those kinks before you get on the water, because once you're on the water, it could be it may ruin your day.
When you're out on the lake and stuff like that, or you're out boating and stuff like this, make sure that you have water to hydrate. Make sure you have a cell phone in a Ziploc bag for them emergencies. I've gone out there before when I was working the lake before and have a throttle break, cable break, and I'm out in the middle of the lake.
Been there, done that.
I have been stuck in the middle of the lake and had to get not a tow truck, but a tow boat to come bring me back in. So you don't want that to happen, especially when you're the sheriff or the law enforcement.
You don't want that to happen.
No, you don't want that anytime.
Your motor's running and you're going nowhere. So
exactly. So I've had some interesting experience. We worked on Ballew's Lake for about 22 years, providing law enforcement protection out there, working in conjunction with our wildlife officers out there, and other agencies, other counties around Stokes, and also Forsyth and Guilford. So we work together. But again, don't get stuck out on the lake with your boat not working. So get it checked out. Exactly. All right, make sure. Wait a minute. Make sure now. You got to say this. Make sure you always have your flotation vest. Everybody gets on your boat. Make sure you've got a flotation vest on. And again, if you're going to swim, know where you're swimming at, and know something about that area where you are swimming. Now, a lot of people are going to go to the beach. I just saw something down at Marathon Keys. A person was down there swimming and was spearfishing and got tagged by a bull shark.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but quick thinking, he used a tourniquet system and he was able to save his life. But the thing about it is, if you're going swimming at the ocean, just remember, there are big fish in the ocean, and swim with friends. Everything's
got teeth in the ocean. Everything's got teeth in the ocean. So you just got to.
So we want you to be safe everywhere you go.
Exactly.
Starting from if you're out on the beach, make sure you make some lotion, protect yourself. Mm-hmm. And if you go in the water, like I said, is just be careful. The thing that I worry about mostly about when we go to the beach areas is the undertows. I've got sheriff friends that are down at the beach area, and we hear about the undertows where they can be very dangerous. And so read up on it, and if you feel like you're getting pulled out and stuff like this, if you just swim across.
Yes. Well, you got to keep a level head.
You got to be calm
and not panic.
Yeah.
And do that, because every year it seems like inevitably there's a couple of drownings as a result of that undertow that gets hold of you, and you don't even realize what's going on. You panic
we usually visit North Carolina, South Carolina beaches and stuff like this. Just again, swim, be careful, and also pay attention to the lifeguards because they're there for a purpose.
That's right. And whether you're at the beach or on the lake, on a boat,
at the pool,
or on the pool or in the pool, remember alcohol and water don't mix.
If you've got little ones and you're at a local pool near waterways, here's another thing: is keep a good eye on the little ones.
Oh, yes,
and make
absolutely.
sure they, if they can't swim, make sure they've got some type of flotation device on them to protect them also.
Exactly. All right. I want to remind everyone that we are hiring several positions here at the Sheriff's Office.
We do have openings. We have, and if you've gone by Freeway Drive in Reidsville, there's an electronic billboard, and it's rotating different companies and stuff like this. But when it rotates to the Sheriff's Office, you're going to see that we're advertising on that billboard. We're advertising for deputies. Mm-hmm. We are hiring deputies, and it states the salary. It's around $42,000. Mm-hmm. We're hiring detention officers, and it also advertises for about $40,000.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. A little over $40,000.
But if you're interested in becoming a member of the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, you're interested in either applying as a sworn officer, as a deputy, or as a detention officer. We have some opportunities. We have some bailiff positions working in the courts for sworn officers. You've got a list right there.
I do.
We've got
school resource officers.
Now I'll go to that in just a second. We've got an animal control officer position. We've got a staff duty officer position. We've got a couple of patrol deputy positions. A few detention officer positions. We're doing pretty good because we have been hiring for a while now. But we've got I think we've got at least a detective position and one or two bailiff positions. So if we have so much to offer and we have some opportunity here, if you're interested in doing something different. Now, if you're not certified, if you'll contact the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, come by. But if you want to get certified, after you leave the college, because you got to go to college first, pick up a package. They have what's called the BLET program, which is the
basic law enforcement training.
And you have to be sponsored. But if you're interested in being sponsored, pick up your documents, get checked off there, come by the sheriff's office, and then get checked off there. And like I said, is if we sponsor you, then you pay your fees and you can enroll there at the college and start the course. It's about a 4.5 month course, but a completion of that course, you would be certified as a sworn law enforcement officer, and then you could be hired by any law enforcement agency in the county or across the state.
Right. All right. So let's get.
One last thing I got to say. If you're interested with a point of contact, you can call me. But Scott Woody is our deputy that handles all all our applications and backgrounds. But Scott Woody, 336-634-3232. Scott Woody, give him a call, and he'll help you through that process.
All right, right. Now I want to talk about a topic that's on a lot of people's minds, not only here in Rockingham County, but across the nation here, and that is fentanyl. And we are going to do a little public education here. Those who may not know.
Over the next few months. Yeah.
Right. But what is fentanyl, Sheriff Page? What is fentanyl?
Fentanyl actually has been bumped up to a Schedule 1 temporarily, Schedule 1 drug.
Okay.
And it is a very potent synthetic opioid, 50 to 100 times more powerful than heroin, and it will kill you. I will tell you this, that I think it's between 2001 and 2002, about 108,000 people, 108,000 people between 2001 and 2021, 2022 have died due to fentanyl poisoning. About 70 to 80% of the persons that have overdosed died due to fentanyl poisoning. And that's across America. About every 7 minutes, somebody dies in the United States due to fentanyl poisoning. Currently, our kids are, here's my worry. Currently, kids are getting out of school. A lot of kids at the middle school and the junior and the high school age, junior high, high school age, in the past, they experiment with different things.
Right.
But you cannot experiment with this drug. Fentanyl will kill you, take you out of here. Every day across the nation and many times throughout the week, we respond to overdose calls, and we get there, we introduce to the person naloxone, which is called Narcan, which is a brand name, Narcan. Narcan is an agent that basically, it's a drug that reverses the symptoms with what the drug of fentanyl will do to you, or heroin, any opioid. It will reverse it. So if you're overdosing, it will help you to come back where otherwise you would die. Because what the opiates do, they suppress your system and your body and your system where you don't breathe anymore.
Now here's something that I think a lot of parents need to know that they may not know. They're putting fentanyl in a lot of other drugs.
Right.
It's the counterfeit drugs. You can get it in the 3 forms, and we'll let you talk about that here in a minute. But it comes in 3 different forms, and they can lace anything from marijuana to vapes with fentanyl now.
We see in schools, particularly in our middle school and high school, kids are using vapes. Well, vapes, for some reason, people think it's safer than smoking. But the thing about it is, do you know what's in the vape? And I think that's the question. They don't know, and you don't know how they can harm you now or down the road. But if a person was to introduce liquid fentanyl into that vape, it will take your life.
All right.
It only takes about 2 milligrams of fentanyl to kill you. It can come in liquid, powder, or pill form. Now, people say, well, where does it come from? Well, I've worked with sheriffs, with the National Sheriff's Association on the Border Security Committee, and we also track drug activity and human trafficking activity from the border area into the United States, being on that committee. And we know that fentanyl is produced in China and then transported to Mexico, where the Mexican drug cartel associates had that mixed and put together, and it's either shipped to the United States in liquid, pill, as counterfeit pills, or powder form. It can be on marijuana. Somebody could be saying, well, it's just marijuana, but you could have it sprinkled on marijuana. You can have it mixed with heroin, methamphetamine, cocaine, or any other type of drug. You saw the thing about Skittles. They had these packaged, were look like candies, were actually fentanyl pills.
And here's the thing, the DEA statistics say that 6 out of every 10 pills that are illegally sold on the market contain fentanyl. Now that ought to scare people there.
Well,
that ought to scare you.
Here's what we're trying to do. Our message is very clear. There's no more experimentation. I went to a fentanyl town hall in Northern Guilford, and I listened to family members who lost family members due to fentanyl poisoning. Not overdose, but poisoning, because when somebody puts fentanyl in a drug, their intent is to cause harm. And the Mexican drug cartel don't care about it.
Right.
All they want to do is sell the product, and if you die, so be it. They don't care.
And hook as many people as they can by mixing it in with the others. No such thing as just a joint or just weed or anything like that.
And there's no
anymore.
such thing as experimentation. You got to remember that. So during the course, we watched a video. It was called Dead on Arrival. You might want to go to YouTube and and look at it. It's called Dead on Arrival.
I've got it linked on
We've got it on our website.
We've got
our website link. But also, it was produced by a gentleman that had lost a lost family member, and saw it's a case of 4 different families with kids aged 14 to about 26, 27 that lost family members due to fentanyl. And they tell their story. And I guarantee you, if you watch that, it'll change your thought process. But I want our kids in the middle school and our high school kids to see this video. Not just me telling you that it will take your life, but I want you to see and listen to real people talk about real situations, about people losing their lives and their family members. You know, we go out regularly and Narcan persons provide that Narcan to save lives every day. We'll get a call every other day. We'll get a call about an overdose, and we respond. And some people say, well, why do you do that? Why do you keep doing it to the same people over and over again? I said, let me explain something to you. And I've heard this said, and I agree with it, is every day that we get a call where there's an overdose and we save a life with Narcan, that gives that person one more chance at life for treatment.
To turn it around. But I can tell you this, if we don't get there in time and they die, you don't get any more chances. That's right.
So this is very serious, but I think our education process this summer, we're going to be reaching out to our faith community. We'll be reaching out to our school system when school starts back. But since school's out, this is an opportunity for us to really to get in and talk with the kids at those age groups and their parents, because you got to pay attention. A lot of times, kids are reached on these substances through social media, Snapchat and other TikTok, all those.
Yeah.
And I just want to let you know, I'm not letting the cartel off the hook. The Mexican drug cartel are free to run down along that border area, and they control what comes through. But they reach out to people through those social media networks. So you make sure that you pay attention to what your children are doing. Another thing, you know, I heard this mentioned by a DEA representative when I was down in McAllen, Texas, about a month ago, talking with the Border Patrol and some officials down there, was said, do you know your child's, if you pay for your child's phone, do you know what their access code is to get into it? Because if something happens to someone, anyone, if we can get into that phone, that helps a lot on these investigations for prosecution. But I'd rather stay in the prevention side, which is basically if we can prevent it in the first place, because if we go into the prosecution, more than likely somebody's already died.
And let me just clarify something for those that may not know. Your children and their right to privacy, okay? They do not have the right to privacy from their parents. They do not. It's the right to privacy is assigned against the government, you have the right to privacy against the government entities, but not parents and children. So if your child says to you, well, I've got the right to my privacy, not in your house, they don't.
Right.
They're your children.
We're asking parents to please step up more. Pay attention to what your kids are viewing on these networks. Pay attention to what's on the computers. Pay attention who they're running around with, because I'm telling you, if a person says, if someone comes up to your child and says, here, take this pill, it won't hurt you, it's just this.
They're playing pill roulette.
It really is. It's like pill roulette. And the thing about it is it could be a pill dose with fentanyl. And in my county, in Rockingham County, I talked to a gentleman before the election last year, and he had a banner up with his son's picture on it. And I didn't understand what the situation was, but a few months prior to the election, he told me, I was sitting in a restaurant, and he told me that what happened was his son and his little son's girlfriend, they got a pill, purchased or were given a pill, one way or the other, in another county, and they took those pills and they died, and they were in their 20s. It should not happen.
Tragic loss, yes.
If we can educate our children, we do our DARE programs, we do our gang resistance education training through our GREAT program in our elementary schools. We do our different programs for the young kids. But for the middle school kids and the high school kids, they need to hear this message, and it needs to resound. Don't take anything that's not given to you from a pharmacist or your parents. Don't take any pills or anything you don't know where it comes from, because if it doesn't come from a pharmacy, you're playing with your life. And this may be between now and time school gets out, this is the only time we're going to be on the podcast until next month. But please, this summer, be careful. Pay attention to what you're doing. Pay attention to who you're hanging around with. If you're at the beach, be careful. If you're in a neighborhood, be careful. If someone tries to approach you to give you a pill or medication of some type, don't take it. Tell your parents, let them know. But it could take your life if you take that pill. And the DEA has a program right now that we're partnering up with. It says One Pill Can Kill campaign, and we'll be putting some posters out also on our video board, our message board, billboard on Freeway Drive. We'll send out some additional messaging. If you're interested in us coming and speaking to you, Kevin and I coming out to speak with you about the issues and the dangers of fentanyl and fentanyl poisoning, contact the Sheriff's Office at 336-634-3232 and ask for Kevin Southard, or if you can't get Kevin, ask for me. And we appreciate it. It's all about saving lives and protecting the future of our county and of our state.
And if you're watching this right now or listening to this on the podcast and you're thinking to yourself, well, that stuff ain't happening around here in Rockingham County. We're little old Rockingham County. That's nothing we need to worry about. I don't know why they're so worked up about it. What's your message to them?
Well, we had 11 people, I think last year we had 11 people die due to overdoses, and we have to wait for the results to come back to tell exactly what the causative factor was. But the thing about it, those were 11 lives, those were 11 family members. We have people who come into our facilities with issues attributed to addiction and stuff like this. But my message is this, is don't think that it can't happen to you, because probably other people thought the same thing, and it did happen, and they're not here anymore. I want you to have a long life. I want you to have a prosperous life, and I want you to have a great future career and stuff like this, and I want you to do good here in your community. But don't take chances with your life, and don't take anything that you don't know what it is, because it could be the one thing that sends you out of here. It could be the last
thing you do.
It could be the last action you do.
And I would shudder to say that there's probably not a day goes by now that we don't respond to an overdose call and have to administer naloxone.
Let me tell you this. The fentanyl seizures at the border have tripled in the past 2 years, according to the Border Patrol. A lot of drugs coming in, a lot of stuff coming our way, a lot of challenges for our kids. There's no, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of challenges for young people now.
Oh yeah.
But we're telling you, you cannot experiment, you cannot take a chance, because you only get one life, and we want you to have a long one.
Yeah, you can't take that back.
That's my message.
Yes.
We want you to have a long one.
All right. Well, Sheriff, I think that's going to wind down the program for today. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, whether you're listening or watching on video here. We'll be kicking off the Fans for the Elderly program here soon.
Fans for the Elderly, where we collect fans for our seniors that may not be able to don't have air conditioning.
Hugely popular program.
There are a lot of programs out here that run year round. You know the Meals on Wheels. We do the Fans on the Elderly, working with all our persons across the county that are donating fans. Help out where you can, and this summer and through the year, try to help people wherever you can. We've got a great county. I love Rockingham County, and we've got a great county, and we've got great people in our county. Let's look after each other, and let's start caring about our fellow man a lot more.
That's right. That's right. Taking care of each other is what it's all about. Well, thank you for tuning in. Join us next month for our June edition of Sheriff Spotlight.